Joe Louis Walker's story is one of raw talent, bold choices, and a life that ended too soon, leaving fans with questions that might never be answered. Let's dive into the life of a man who redefined the blues. Born in San Francisco in 1949, Walker grew up surrounded by music. His dad tickled the ivories, his mom spun blues records, and by 8, he was strumming a guitar, channeling heroes like T-Bone Walker and B.B. King. But it was his grandmother's church that gave him something special. A gospel beat that pulsed through every note he'd ever play. That soulful rhythm wasn't just a sound, it was his heartbeat. And it set him apart from the start. As a young man, Walker found a kindred spirit in Mike Bloomfield, a blues guitar genius. They shared a flat, traded riffs, and became brothers in music. But in 1981, Bloomfield was gone, found dead from what officials called an OD. Fans whispered about darker possibilities, though nothing was ever proven. The loss hit Walker hard, shaking his world. Some say it pushed him toward a path few expected. But that wasn't the whole story. In a move that stunned his fans, Walker stepped away from the blues scene in 1975. He enrolled at the University of San Francisco, diving into music and English degrees while singing with a gospel quartet. Picture this: a rising blues star trading smoky bars for lecture halls and church choirs. It was a bold detour, one that deepened his craft in ways most never saw coming. And what happened next would shock everyone. By 1985, Walker was ready to reclaim the blues. After a standout performance at the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, he formed the Boss Talkers and signed with High-Tone Records. His debut album, Cold as the Night, dropped in 1986, and suddenly, he was touring the world, North Sea Jazz, Montrose, Glastonbury. He shared stages with legends like James Cotton and Bonnie Raitt, his guitar solos slicing through the air like lightning. The blues wasn't just back, Walker was rewriting it. His star kept rising. Walker played at George W. Bush's inauguration, jammed at B.B. King's Kennedy Center induction, with the Clintons in the audience, and added a Grammy to his shelf for James Cotton's Deep in the Blues. His 1997 album Great Guitars brought together heavyweights like Buddy Guy and Taj Mahal, proving he wasn't just a player, he was a force. But behind the spotlight, trouble was brewing. Rumors swirled in the 2000s that Walker clashed with record labels over creative control. Some say he fought to keep his sound raw and real, while labels pushed for polished hits. Nothing's confirmed, but fans noticed his output slowed, jumping between labels like a man searching for freedom. Reports claim he poured his frustration into his music, delivering albums that felt like confessions. And then came the final act. In 2023, Walker released Weight of the World, a record bursting with funk, gospel, and blues. Critics called it a celebration, his vocals soaring, his Amatis guitar screaming. But fans watching his shows noticed something: Walker looked tired, maybe frail. Whispers grew online: was he battling health issues? No one knew for sure. Then, on April 30, 2025, the news hit: Joe Louis Walker was gone. No cause was shared, sparking speculation about what really happened. Had the weight of the world finally caught up? Joe Louis Walker wasn't just a bluesman, he was a storyteller who turned pain into power. From gospel roots to global stages, he carried a sound that was fierce, unbridled, and alive. Yet his sudden exit left fans reeling, wondering if we'll ever know the full story. What do you think? Did Walker leave behind secrets we'll never uncover? His music lives on, but those questions linger, echoing like a final, haunting chord. George Ryan started small, growing up in Kankakee County, Illinois, where he learned grit early. He fought in the Korean War, studied pharmacy, and turned his family's drugstore into a local success. But Ryan had bigger dreams. By the late 1960s, he was already cutting his teeth in politics on the Kankakee County Board. What came next was a masterclass in climbing the ladder. In just a few decades, Ryan went from local politics to the heart of Illinois power. By 1973, he was in the Illinois House, eventually becoming Speaker. Then came stints as Lieutenant Governor and Secretary of State, each role cementing his influence. In 1998, he clinched the governor's seat with a tight 51% win. Ryan wasn't just playing the game, he was winning it. But the spotlight was about to get hotter. As governor, Ryan pushed for better highways and schools, but one move sent shockwaves. In 1999, he became the first sitting U.S. governor to meet Fidel Castro. Critics called it a publicity stunt. Supporters saw it as bold diplomacy. Whatever the truth, it put Ryan on the world stage. And that wasn't the last time he'd make headlines. In 2003, just before leaving office, Ryan dropped a bombshell. He commuted the sentences of all 167 death row inmates in Illinois, calling the system immoral and broken. Families of victims were furious, but human rights groups cheered. The move earned him a Nobel Peace Prize nomination and global respect. But whispers of darker dealings were already circling. Those whispers became a roar in 2006 when Ryan was found guilty of corruption. Prosecutors said he'd handed out lucrative contracts, including a $25 million IBM deal, to friends and allies during his time as Secretary of State. Rumors swirled that this was just the tip of the iceberg, with some claiming a vast network of favors and bribes. Ryan's defenders, though, argued he was a scapegoat, targeted by political rivals. What's the truth? That's still up for debate. Sentenced to 6 years, Ryan walked out of prison in 2013, a free but tarnished man. His wife, Laura Lynn, passed away in 2011, and Ryan faded from the public eye. Yet, even now, people can't stop talking about him. Recent posts on X show fans praising his death row decision as heroic, while others brand him a crook who sold out Illinois. Some even speculate his enemies inflated the charges to destroy his legacy. So, where does George Ryan stand today? A reformer who risked everything to fix a broken system, or a politician whose greed caught up with him? His story leaves more questions than answers. One thing's clear, Illinois hasn't seen another like him. What do you think? Did Ryan's good outweigh his bad? Drop your thoughts below, because this debate's far from over. Dara Birnbaum, a trailblazer in video art, took on the media giants of the 1970s and turned their own images against them. Her work wasn't just art, it was a rebellion. So why don't more people know her story? Let's dive into the life of an artist who rewrote the rules and challenged everything. Birnbaum didn't start as a video artist. Fresh out of Carnegie Mellon with an architecture degree in 1969, she was designing urban spaces. But something felt off. Television was everywhere, shaping how people thought, especially in American homes. By the mid-1970s, she ditched architecture for a paintbrush at the San Francisco Art Institute, only to discover video art in Florence. That's when it clicked. TV wasn't just entertainment, it was a cultural force she needed to confront. And confront it she did, with a borrowed Sony Portapak and a vision to tear apart media's glossy facade. But what made her approach so daring? Enter her feminist fire. In the late 1970s, Birnbaum joined a wave of women artists who saw video as a way to fight back. Her 1978 piece, Technology Transformation, Wonder Woman, was a game-changer. She took clips from the cheesy TV show and looped them, exposing how women were boxed into stereotypes, heroic yet hypersexualized. It wasn't just art. It was a middle finger to the media's portrayal of women. Held in the Museum of Modern Art, this work still stings with relevance. But that was only the beginning of her rule-breaking streak. Birnbaum didn't just critique, she stole. In the 1980s, she grabbed footage from game shows, soap operas, and even a Wang Computers ad to create quick-cut collages like PM Magazine, Acid Rock. This 1982 piece, shown at the Whitney Biennial, mashed up consumerism and pop culture with a reimagined Doors track. Sounds cool, right? Not to everyone. Her use of copyrighted material stirred up a storm. Was it art or theft? Critics and lawyers debated, but Birnbaum kept pushing, proving video art could challenge the system. And then she took things even further. By the 1990s, her work got political. In Canon, Taking to the Street, she wove together footage of the 1968 Paris uprising with a 1987 feminist march at Princeton. It was a bold statement on protest and power. Then came Hostage in 1994, tackling the 1977 kidnapping of a German businessman. These works weren't just about art. They were about real-world chaos and resistance. Birnbaum wasn't afraid to get messy, but that fearlessness came at a cost. So why isn't she a household name? Here's where it gets wild. Some say Birnbaum was ahead of her time, way ahead. Art fans on platforms like X argue her chopped-up videos laid the groundwork for today's remix culture, from TikTok edits to meme art. Think about it. Her fragmented, rebellious style feels like it could drop on your For You page tomorrow. Yet, compared to male video artists like Nam June Paik, she's often sidelined. Was it because she focused on lowly television instead of cinema? Or because the art world wasn't ready for a woman calling the shots? The speculation swirls, but the truth is undeniable. Her influence is everywhere, even if her name isn't. So why does Dara Birnbaum matter? She didn't just make art. She exposed the tricks of the media we consume daily. From feminist critiques to political fire, she challenged a world that tried to keep her quiet. Her work screams relevance in our digital age, where everyone's remixing and questioning. Next time you scroll through a video edit or see a meme, think of Birnbaum. She was there first, flipping the script on what media could be. So, what's stopping us from giving her the spotlight she deserves? Fidel Herrera Beltran, a lawyer, writer, and one of Mexico's most polarizing politicians, climbed the ranks of power with a charm that captivated many. But whispers of corruption, cartel connections, and unthinkable scandals followed him until his death in 2025. Today, we're diving into the untold story of a man some call a genius, others a villain. Buckle up, this is a wild ride. Born in 1949 in Nopaltepec, Veracruz, Fidel Herrera was no ordinary politician. A sharp mind with a law degree from UNAM, he studied at the prestigious London School of Economics, and quickly became a rising star in the Institutional Revolutionary Party, or PRI. By his 20s, he was already a deputy, later a senator, charming crowds with his wit and strategic mind. Herrera wasn't just a suit. He was a force, someone who knew how to play the political game better than most. But as his star rose, so did questions about how he played it. And that's where things get murky. In 2004, Herrera became governor of Veracruz, promising progress and prosperity. He delivered on some fronts, roads got built, schools improved, and Veracruz felt his presence. But behind the scenes, something was brewing. By 2011, the state's debt had skyrocketed, reportedly growing by an insane 67,000% in just over a decade. How does that even happen? Critics pointed fingers at Herrera and his predecessors, saying funds were mishandled or worse. It wasn't just numbers on a page. It was a red flag that something wasn't right. But that was just the start. Now, let's talk about the rumors that haunted Herrera's career. Reports, like one from the University of Texas in 2017, claimed he had ties to Los Zetas, one of Mexico's most ruthless cartels. Word on the street. The cartel allegedly funneled $12 million into his 2004 campaign to secure influence in Veracruz. A U.S. court heard testimony that an oil businessman acted as a middleman, passing cash to Herrera's team. He denied it, calling the accusations baseless. But the whispers didn't stop. Some even claimed the cartel nicknamed him Zeta One, suggesting he called the shots. Was it true? No one's been able to prove it, but the rumors stuck like glue. And there's more to this puzzle. In 2007, a Chinese-Mexican businessman named Zhenli Yigan, caught in a massive drug bust, dropped a bombshell. He claimed he'd bankrolled Herrera's campaign for governor, flashing a Senate credential signed by Herrera himself. A drug trafficker with a direct line to a senator. That raised eyebrows. Herrera brushed it off, saying it was just political mudslinging. But the story painted a picture of a man who might have played too close to the edge. And it wasn't the last time his name got tangled with shady figures. Fast forward to 2015, and Herrera's name popped up in a chilling scandal. Federal police recordings revealed he'd allegedly hired a criminal network to smear journalists like Carmen Aristegui, who'd been digging into his past. They even worked to bury a photo of Herrera riding horseback next to a known narco. This wasn't just politics. It was a calculated move to control the narrative. Herrera wanted his image spotless, but these revelations showed a darker side, one that didn't shy away from dirty tactics. And what came next would shock everyone. In 2017, Herrera's world unraveled. As Mexico's consul in Barcelona, he was hit with accusations that his administration had supplied fake cancer drugs to kids in Veracruz, all to siphon off health funds. The outrage was immediate. Parents, activists, and even the governor at the time called it abominable. Herrera resigned, denying the claims, but the damage was done. Posts on X in 2025, after his passing, still bring up the scandal, with some calling it his darkest hour. Was it a setup? Or was this the real Fidel Herrera? The truth remains elusive. Herrera's time in Barcelona only added fuel to the fire. The DEA and Catalan police reportedly monitored him, suspecting ties to narcos and money launderers. No charges were filed, but the scrutiny followed him back to Mexico. When he died in 2025, X lit up with mixed reactions. Some praised his political brilliance, others branded him a PI Zeta, who betrayed Veracruz. So, who was Fidel Herrera Beltran? A master strategist who transformed a state, or a man whose ambition led him down a dangerous path? That's for you to decide. Drop your thoughts below, and let's keep this conversation going.